Folks, welcome to Mid-Ice Crisis. First episode, 2026. I'm your host, Josh Cybulski. Here we are, the show that breaks down the chaos, the cold reality, and the game-changing moments in the hockey world. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how somebody needs to shoot and bury outdoor hockey games. If you're enjoying the show, we've been gone for a few weeks, but if you enjoy us, hit like, subscribe, and drop a rating. It helps us reach more fans just like you. Let's go. Outdoor games. Good God, I'm done with them. You know, I saw this Facebook post the other day from myself, my 2018 self, where I posted back in 2018, like the action sign, clicks on outdoor game, says, oh yeah, this horrible camera angle, clicks off the outdoor game. That's kind of been my attitude with outdoor games. You know, let me just say, if you took outdoor games away for 5 years, I'd be clamoring for outdoor games, right? It's the mentality of the modern man and the modern female as well. The thing that made the Winter Classic and the outdoor games cool was the fact that it was rare and it was exceptional. And there was an emotion that rarity brought to it that they've just beaten to death with a baseball bat year after year after year. And I can't even say year anymore because they do like a couple of them a year. And it doesn't feel like a cool event anymore. It just feels like this annual obligation that we have of like, and this year they didn't do it on New Year's Day, but it's become this annual obligation of like, oh, it's New Year's, I guess I'll put the fucking outdoor game on. Now they did it on January 2nd, which was just insanity. Like, people already didn't care about, well, I shouldn't say people didn't care. A lot of people didn't care about Florida and the Rangers. They especially didn't care that it was being played in Florida. And they really didn't care that it was being played on a Friday. It is just slop. Like, that's what it's become. Slap whatever slop logo you want on it. Stadium Series, Heritage Classic, Winter Classic. Who cares? Nobody can even tell the difference anymore. When you try to make everything special, nothing is special. That's what everybody tries to do with their kids, right? Timmy, Sally, Johnny, and the 27 other kids in the class are all special. When you do that, it makes nothing special. That's what the NHL is trying to do. They could call it this is something that I find humorous, and this, I don't think we're this far away from it, where they start to call it like PGA events. I know they do, like they'll call it the insert sponsor here Heritage Classic, but I'm waiting for the day where they don't even add the Heritage Classic to it and they just call it the Zinn Classic, brought to you by Zinn or whatever brand is going to be sponsoring it. You know, stuff your lip at the Zinn Classic. Oh, fuck. I don't think we're that far away from that. Something like that. So what's the problem with it? You know, more specifically, what's my problem with it? My problem with it used to be that it was the same teams over and over. It was always Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and the Rangers. Every so often, they'll shoehorn a Canadian team in there. They'll be like, oh, yeah, there's that whole country up there that we got to, you know, it pays a lot of the bills here. I guess we'll put one of them in. You know, if you're going to do it, I mean, fans, they are going to put one in Utah. I guess that's fresh blood, really fresh. Teams in their second year, you know. But I think what people really want is a rivalry that matters. So who are you going to have Utah play? You can play them against Ottawa? Yippee. Like, that's the kind of rivalries they put together, right? So many products, and the NHL is guilty of this, they're all trying to rely on nostalgia. But you can't ever recreate, like, the Buffalo-Pittsburgh of 2008, the game in the snow, Crosby scoring the shootout winner, Colby Armstrong scoring like 21 seconds or 22 seconds into the game. You can't recreate that. My camera's fucked. I just realized that. Low budget operation we got going here. I didn't even know if I was going to talk about the outdoor game, but since we're talking about the outdoors, how do I not talk about the weather? One of the things used to drive me nuts is that you'd watch the game and it would be super sunny or it'd be snowing, which the snowing part's kind of cool. It looks cool on TV. But like a lot of the glare and stuff on the ice that you'd see in the afternoon games, I didn't really care for that. Hated seeing all the slush. The 2011 game where Crosby got hurt, where he started his concussion issues, where David Steckel hit him. That game was particularly, it was raining in Pittsburgh. That was just, like, you want to talk about slop. That was slop. I don't think fans like when the game, like the weather in the game becomes the spectacle rather than the game itself, or rather than all the fans being there. When the weather sort of dictates the game itself, they don't really like that. And, you see players every once in a while that'll actually speak the truth. They'll talk about how shitty the conditions are. And it becomes apparent when you watch really bad passing, really even more random bounces than you'd get at a regular NHL game. Like, the ice is already shit in most NHL arenas. Maybe not most, but a lot. Like, I live in Ottawa. If you talk to anybody in Ottawa who's skated at the Canadian Tire Center, they will tell you that the ice is garbage. And I've heard it from people, I have some friends who live in Pittsburgh. They tell me the same thing. The ice is terrible in Pittsburgh. I've heard it from friends in Toronto as well. The ACC, you get kind of a mixed response, but largely people say like it's not great. You don't like to see goalies guessing because they got slush in their eyes and they can't see where the puck is. It's just not. It doesn't make for great hockey. When the weather's perfect, yeah, it's great. The hockey's good. Now, I'm not the only one who feels this way. It's fairly obvious that like TV viewership's starting to tell the story here. The game doesn't do the ratings that it used to. Like, it used to have spiked ratings for this game. Like, the ratings were solid. And now they've certainly lost the casual fan. Casual fan doesn't care anymore. Casual fan flips on the TV and they go, "Oh, another hockey game in a football stadium. Who cares?" Or a baseball stadium. The hardcore fans, people like me, kind of grit their teeth and they'll still watch, but it's more out of habit than anything else. And I don't know that the spectacle itself is actually converting people to be new fans. And that was kind of the point of having an outdoor game, was like, yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted more fans. It's funny because like the most recent outdoor games played in Florida, but like the outdoor game is always sold on this idea of like a frozen pond and childhood memories and getting back to grassroots and simple hockey and shit like that. Who in Florida is ever like, "Oh, I remember playing on the outdoor rink"? Other than like retired boomers. That's it. And you really care that much about converting a 78-year-old boomer into a lifelong hockey fan? What are you going to get out of them going forward? Right? You want to convert young people. This ain't it. The modern fan watches the thing on the thing. They want to watch speed and skill. They like their 4K or their 8K. They like clean ice. They like tight camera angles. They like what WWE wrestling sells. You ever talk to a purist at WWE? There's the thing. There it is. WWE. You talk to a purist, they hate all the camera angles now, the way it is. Because WWE is crisp. It's clean. The camera angles are perfect. It's almost too good. That's what people want, though. When they watch the the Chris Van Vliet clips of WWE, they want it to be nice and clean. NHL is kind of still selling not necessarily what people want. And the actual in-game experience for an outdoor game, I've talked to some people who have gone to them, you can't see shit. Can't see the puck. You're sitting far away. You're watching the Jumbotron or whatever big screen they have up for you. And you're paying premium prices for an experience that's way worse than home. Really what it is a social media event. It's not a hockey one. What it really is, other than a social media event, is it's a merch play, right? It's not a hockey event. It's a merch play. I remember talking to a buddy of mine years ago who went to a Pittsburgh Philly game when it was in Pittsburgh. What year was that? I want to say it was like 2017. I remember him telling me that how the prices were jacked up on the jerseys and the hats and shit. So he waited till after the game and he went and there were like vendors selling knockoff stuff of the same jersey, same hat, stuff like that. And it was like, a tenth of the price. He went and bought that stuff. Again, the game always feels secondary. And I get it. It's a $1 billion industry and a $1 billion business. But this is what's killing. Like shit like this. It's not going to kill hockey, but they've killed the outdoor game. They've murdered it. It's what they do when shit works. They just beat businesses, corporations specifically, have this really long-standing tradition of when something works, they just beat the ever-living shit out of it until it's dead and it's a corpse, and then they'll bury it, only to bring it out 10 or 15 years later when people forgot how they buried it. They do it with movies, they do it with music, they do it with everything. All of it. Everything feels artificial about this. The only thing that's on the line, really, that feels real is the 2 points to the winner. And who really wants to have their playoff fate sealed by one of these games? There's a big stage, but the emotional payoff is very little. Now, you think about it, compare it to like just a regular old playoff game, a Game 7, or a real rivalry. Compare it to like Pittsburgh-Philly in the playoffs, where shit happens organically and it's real. That's what I like. And I think that this is the way the world's going. People want the authentic experience. They want authenticity. What hockey's selling really isn't authenticity. The NHL, hardly at all. But when they do it, it hits. People like it. Like the shows that they've put on, like on Prime, people like that stuff because it gives you just a glimpse into what these guys are really like and what the behind the scenes is really like. But like the NHL, everything that they're doing just has this fatigue to it, and there's no excitement. Like it's the same every year. They sell you the same marketing for the outdoor game. Hockey, the way it's meant to be played in Florida. No, I'm adding that part, but hockey, getting back to the roots. If I have to go through another year of them saying something about going back to the roots or this is the way the game's meant to be played, my eyes are going to roll so hard out of my own head. I'm going to be looking on the floor to try to pick them up. The NHL has never met a good idea that they won't let rest. And in fact, they do a phenomenal job of just changing stuff for the sake of changing stuff. And then they stir up a hornet's nest and create all kinds of a mess. But with the outdoor hockey game, they're just like, no, going to keep that the same. We're going to keep trudging out the same garbage year after year after year. The NHL game, the outdoor game, needs to be rare. It needs to be event-based. It needs to be earned. You can't just give it to someone like a team because they're new. Making it scheduled, predictable, essentially mandatory every year turns the magic that you had around the outdoor game, it just disappears. Gone. And it's not dead because people hate it. It's dead because people are just like indifferent to it. They're just like, who cares? Like the idea still works. It's the execution that doesn't work. Till the NHL decides, hey, we're going to make this thing rare again. It's just going to, the magic that it had is just going to keep fading and fading and fading and fading and fading. And then done, gone. Stop beating the ever-living shit out of this thing. Go a couple years without one. People might care again. Put it in a market where there's going to be a real experience around it. And it'll work. But give it time to breathe. All right. We're back. 2026. Going to be a big year. We're going to get back into the weekly schedule of things here. I'm really excited to keep bringing you the show. Don't forget that we're brought to you by Quench Hydration. Head on over to quenchhydration.ca/secondstorypod. Pick yourself up some Quench. Get 15% off with our promo code, which is secondstorypod. Thanks once again for tuning in. I'll be back next week with a new episode. Looking forward to seeing what happens this year. It's going to be a fun one as we get closer to the NHL trade deadline. Take care.